Hey, everybody, and welcome to the True Crime Squad. This is Katie Weaver. I'm here with my sister, co-host, and partner in crime, Christy Brower. Hello.
Hello. Hey, everybody.
How's it going?
You know, it's good. I've just been so deep in the pile of shit that is Ruby Franke that my brain's a little tired and my guts are a little sick.
Yeah, there was a huge evidence dump over the weekend, and we have both just, oh my God, rolled around in it until it's awful. But we're going to share some of it today because it needs to be shared. Frankly, the scope of the child abuse, I think, runs so much deeper than any of us realized.
It is extreme.
Yeah.
And we're not going to show you any of the images or videos that have anything to do with injuries to children. I'll just be describing some of the things that are said in her journal.
Yeah.
But I wanted to do this in a way that isn't so triggering for people that they can't even become aware of what's happened here.
Mm-hmm. Yep. When people called Ruby Franke Lori Vallow 2.0, they were 100% correct.
Yeah, they were not kidding.
Yep.
Not at all. How are you?
I'm well. I too, I went way down the rabbit hole of the fugitives from Idaho. I'm going to cover them today a little more, a wrap up on from what we reported initially to what we know happened now. I've been there. I've been on the Franke case. I was so deep into Franke the other day that I just got flat depressed, had to leave the house, just go do something else because I was just stuck. So yeah, it's really something, honestly. But I'm good overall. Fine.
Well, good. Glad to hear it. Other than that, we'll get it out today.
Cuddling dogs, it really helps. So
for sure.
Yeah. Well, I'm going to kick it over to you to lead us off then. You're going to take us down the desolate hole of Ruby Franke's journals.
Mm-hmm. All right. So I've been thinking about how to do this in a way that would make this useful and make more sense. And so here's what I've decided. I'm going to do a chronological telling of parts of this story. The first part of the story is what Ruby Franke was writing in her journal while she and Jodi Hildbrandt were actively torturing her children. Okay. Then I'm going to play you a video, which is really just audio, of a conversation Ruby has with her husband, Kevin Franke, after she has been arrested. And then I'm going to play you, and you've heard it before, but I'm going to play it again, her statement that she made at her sentencing.
Yeah.
Because I think you're going to see an arc of bullshittery here that will be rather shocking when you hear her go through this and see what utter ridiculous bullshit it was, the things that she said at her sentencing hearing, when you see what led up to that.
Yeah.
So, as Katie said, big document dump came out. One of the things that came out is, guess who was journaling the whole darn time?
How very Mormon of you.
Very, very Mormon
of you, Jodi. Thank you so much.
Yes.
That made it easier to convict you, I'm sure.
Well, right? I mean, written in her own hand. And here's the thing.
And G. Joe.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So here's the thing. As Mormon girls, we were raised to be journalers. Now, I suck at it. I've never been a good journaler. I never did well with it when we were kids or in teenagers, nothing. But one thing that you should know is that the reason that there is so much information out there about the history of the Mormon Church is because they were all journaling everything they did. Mm-hmm. And there are libraries full of Mormons' journals. And guess what? Ruby Franke did not disappoint. So I'm going to read you some excerpts from her journal. These are not in chronological order. I couldn't find a way to put them in the right order. It really doesn't matter. It's just some good descriptions of, this is how she herself was speaking to herself in her own journal about what she was doing to her
Yeah.
kids.
Yeah.
So I'm going to read you a bunch of them. We're going to discuss them and then we'll move on from there. So I'm just going to use the initials for her children. Obviously, the names have been said over and over again, but let's just start with this. E has started walking stairs without a box. She is now slipping and falling on purpose. If you didn't know, E was supposed to be carrying a heavy box with her everywhere she went, including up and down the stairs. Mm-hmm. When E was outside today, it was hot. She acted like she was dying. So pitiful.
E being the 9-year-old daughter, right?
Yes. Yeah. I told her the heat in hell is much better, or is much hotter, and God is going to burn the wicked. So either get used to it or start changing.
My God.
And E says, according to her, I don't really believe that's actually going to happen.
You go, E.
Right? So now we're talking about R. R is the 11-year-old. He takes the bowl and begins eating. I say, no, thank you. Are you going to acknowledge the woman you've been abusing, that the woman that you've been abusing just brought you dinner? R, well, I would say thank you, but I wouldn't really mean it. Jodi said, or Ruby says, with that, I reached down and grabbed his dinner and water and said, wow, wow. R tried going back on what he said with some explanation. I stopped him. I will not talk with a demon. Your soul is damned, and I will not hear your damnable words. Straight to bed. Back talking his mom means he's a demon.
A demon.
Yeah. And now R again.
Hailey Ryan, anybody?
Right. Right?
Yeah.
Ruby, you would like sleeping on the hard ground? You like sleeping on the hard ground? I slept in a soft bed. R, I slept really well. Ruby, you are mean. Do you enjoy being mean? R, yes, ma'am. Ruby, do you expect me to feed you? R, yes. Ruby, I get big over him. I will feed R. I will not feed a demon. So I will check on you in a bit. And if you want food, then be prepared to tell the truth about your behaviors. Tell the truth of who I am. An hour later. Ruby, are you ready? R, no, ma'am. Ruby, so you would rather have no food and worship the devil? R, yes, ma'am.
My God.
Let's see. Now we're to E. E woke up. I reminded her that if she whined, cried, or squinted her eyes at me or soured her face, I would be buzzing her hair. If she's going to act sick, she can look sick. She agreed with a smile. I told her because she didn't listen the night before, she would do 2 sets of boxes stairs with a 5-minute break, carrying the heavy box up and down the stairs. She did the first set easily and agreeably. After 5 minutes of rest, she began whimpering. When she got to the bottom stair, she slipped and dropped the box. I put her in the dog wash and shaved her head. Then back to the boxes.
My God.
Yeah. Let's see. She calls this a pattern.
It's a pattern, all right.
Yeah. Right. Sending evil away in a long time possessed person is not a one and done deal usually. These wicked spirits in E and R have been pals long before this life. How E and R got to come and get a body can only be explained to me advocating to be their mother. Like, the only reason they got to come is because she advocated for them before they
Sure. Oh, how nice of you, Ruby. Really. Thank you.
Right. God knew I would take my responsibility and mother seriously. Jodi volunteered to help. These two souls are very weak of mind. They are fools, truly. They are children. E said she would choose the devil over God. What arrogant spew. Of course, they're just, going to resist anything now because of how horrible she is.
Yeah.
God is patient not to split her with a bolt of lightning.
Oh my God.
You do not tempt a God who controls your very breath. The disdain and hatred they have for God, aka their mother, is beyond my ability to describe. My spirit is offended. I shudder to think I would never have seen this had I not pushed on them. Yeah. So in pushing them, they prove their demons.
So you abuse your kids, so they react to that, so that makes them demons. Got it. Okay.
Yeah. Okay. Oh, okay. So they decide, Ruby and Jodi decide that they need to buy property in Arizona where it's even hotter and more rural to take the kids to work, because southern Utah, right on the edge of Utah or of Arizona and Nevada, isn't hot and remote
terrible enough.
And it definitely is. But
I mean, honestly, mark my words. Had those kids ended up in Arizona, she said they'd never be coming home. Yeah. They would have died there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So they decide that they're going to go on this road trip to look at the property. And let's see. This is her projecting what she thinks will happen with the kids if they see the new house, basically where they're going. She said, E is lying on the floor. We will bring them in. R, I will clean up out in the desert as he has pooped himself. Yeah, I wonder why that could have happened.
Yeah.
I will clean up out. Oh, let's see. He will then stand or sit on the patio where it's shaded. Now I'll see him from the kitchen. I will bring E into the cool house. She can sit in the pantry. They will think they won. They will think they got what they wanted. They will relax and then pop. We will drop them like hot potatoes out in the desert. Their new home. You are going to get exactly what you asked for.
Dear God.
These are her own children we are talking about. It's just... Ugh. Let's see. This morning, the 13th, R broke his fast with brown rice, lentils, black beans, and something, and water. I told R to think of the hornet. Oh, there was a hornet buzzing around. And to think of the hornet as Satan. Would you become pals with Satan? Would you sell your soul or chicken to a hornet? He will sting you in the end. R trapped the bee with his sun hat. E broke her fast with cheesy potatoes, steak, water, oatmeal, and water. Got a little bit better food, obviously. R is full of piss and vinegar. She is mad as a hornet. She doesn't call the shots. It's been about 90 minutes since R ate. I warned him that food would either energize him to truth or defiance. He is defiant again. He pooped his pants and telling me now. His poop is too watery to be fasting.
This grossed me out to no end. Like, what the hell, lady?
Yeah. R admits to stealing water.
Stealing water?
because they've been forcing him to fast, and yet he has diarrhea. How does he have? Yeah.
Yeah.
Jijo, that's Jodi.
Because apparently they were making them call her grandma.
I guess. It's
Yeah,
fucking crazy and
Yeah.
weird. Jijo helped me intervene after work. Allowing lies to be spewed gives the devil a platform. Articulating lies reinforces possession. The longer the lies are allowed to be spewed, the longer the intervention and physical. Oh, the larger the intervention and physical the intervention needs to be. I cut more off E's head. I think that means hair.
Yeah.
We doused her with water in the dog wash. E said she wanted to run away. Jodi told E she has no idea what is waiting for her. I mean, there's more, but I'm not going to read more. I mean, I think you get the picture here.
Mm-hmm.
She's convinced she's doing the right thing. She's convinced that her children have sold their souls to the devil, are possessed by demons because they're behaving defiantly because they're being abused and neglected.
Yeah.
Okay. So we all know what happened. We've all heard the 911 call. We know what happened. Yeah. E got loose, R got loose, got to the neighbor. All of those things happen. Mm-hmm. I want you to hear, and I have put captions on this because it's kind of hard to hear, but I want you to listen and or watch the captions. Ruby's conversation with Kevin. This is before she has spoken with an attorney. This is right after she has been arrested, and this is what she has to say.
Mm-hmm. And please see the truth. I know it's obscured.
I'm where I see the facts, I see the truth, and that's what I'm gathering.
You know my heart.
What are they charging you with?
2 charges of second-degree felony for child abuse.
2 charges of second-degree felony child abuse.
Yes.
Okay. Wow. That's very serious.
It's interesting. I had the prompting over the last month to read Viktor Frankl. I was reading him, and it was like the worst part was not knowing the end. He said he had an inmate that's man searched for meaning, and he was a prisoner in World War II, and he said the worst part and the greatest bringing of depression was not the lack of food, and it wasn't the weather conditions, it was not knowing how long it would last. So I think I was prepared for this. I do feel strong, and I feel calm. And you know what? Adults have a really hard time understanding that children can be full of evil and what that takes to fight it. You've seen what it takes to fight evil. It's not the person you're fighting. And it can look like something it's not. And you've been there, you know that. And so I don't know any adults who are going to see the truth. So I'm calm about this, and I just pray that you'll hang in there.
You have 1 minute remaining for this call.
I think I can call back, but...
Yeah, but just in case, I'm preparing to step up and fight for the children. They've been taken. And there's going to be a hearing in the next couple of days here in Provo.
I'm sorry, I signaled to Joe. Will you say that one more time?
Yes, I'm prepared to step up and fight for the children. They've been taken into custody. They're in foster care, and there's going to be a hearing within the next 2 or 3 days.
What about Abby and Julie?
Them too. All 4 were taken.
Where did they go to get Abby and Julie?
I don't know. While I was with them, they got Abby, and they were looking.
You have exceeded the allowable time for this call. Goodbye.
Yeah.
Yeah. Hi.
Okay.
When I saw how long this separation was lasting, I wanted to think of some ways that I could bring in money or make some money if you didn't ever come back. So that's when I asked if you would co-sign on a loan if I found a house, and maybe I could Airbnb it or rent it out, or I've been playing with numbers in my head and I think I could make something, but I don't want to be dumb. I want to be very conservative. So I pulled the money and I have it in a bag. And
with you? Do the police have it?
Well, I don't know what the police took. I don't know what the police have.
But the bag was at Jodi's house?
They can't just take people's money. I mean, that's not right.
Well, they're not going to take the money, but when they have a search warrant, they have access to everything in the house.
Sure. Yeah.
I have a feeling we're going to need that money.
We might do. So, I haven't been making big purchases. I've been very conservative. I think the biggest expense has been the kids' schooling, and that's, they have enough curriculum to get them for a couple years. So.
Okay. I just received a text from Ted Dawson out of the blue. Ted Dawson, who I haven't heard from in years.
What, he just texted you?
Yeah, the story's out. So he said, Stormy sent me an article and it just broke my heart. I just wanted you to know I'm thinking about you, and if I can ever be a resource, we are always here.
Are we in the news?
It sounds like at least you're in the news. I don't know about me. I don't know what he's talking about. But
I'm wondering if they went to Sherry to, ask her questions.
I don't know.
These bookings are public.
I know they are. And a couple months ago, Business Insider was reaching out to me, and I ignored their email, but I'm going dark.
This is a witch.
I'm not at BYU anymore, so I don't know how they're going to find me.
Yeah, maybe it was a blessing. This is a witch hunt. The devil's been after me for years, and he's mad as heck.
Have you shared that with the detectives?
I have not said a word until I have an attorney.
Okay, well, you know that this phone call is being recorded.
You have 1 minute remaining for this call.
Yes, that will come out.
Okay.
When we were driven to the jail, the detective was putting us in the car, and Jodi said, "I trust you." So
they're going to be in the hospital for 3 days.
So weird. It's just not necessary. They're trying to exaggerate this. Oh,
they didn't show me.
Like the hero.
Well, they didn't show me any pictures or anything, but the way they described it, it was very serious.
You have exceeded the allowable time for this call. Goodbye.
You had to put her in a chair, and it was horrible. It was torturous last night, hearing the screaming and the banging and people. It's like, okay, that's upsetting, But the most upsetting thing is that I am completely misunderstood. That is the most horrible feeling. Like my own family misunderstands me, they misinterpret me, and understands me, they misinterpret me, and poor Jodi, they misinterpret her, they misunderstand her. She puts her neck out on the line for people, and then they get mad at her. I mean, it is just horrendous. It's horrendous. And you know what? Every Joseph Smith, every wonderful man of God has had to be misunderstood.
That's right.
And so I'm going to get out of this. Who knows? Maybe in 10 days I'll get out of this. If I'm, if truth prevails right now, or, who knows, like 20 years? I don't know. I don't know how long. But I'm going to step out. I'm going to say I went through everything. I have seen God's children suffer. All the people here, my jail cellmates, have been beautiful women, but they've been hurt. They've been deceived into drugs, and my heart just has so much compassion for them. And I have compassion for the cause, and I have compassion for myself, and
Whew.
Okay. I hope those other women in prison have so much compassion for you, Ruby, that they beat your ass every day.
Yeah, I do too.
Jesus.
So let's get this straight. In the conversation with her husband about all of this happening, first of all, she compares herself to Viktor Frankl.
Yeah.
Holocaust survivor.
Yeah.
She's worried about money.
Yeah.
She hears all of her children are in foster care, and the only thing she wants to know is how did they know where to find the younger two?
Yeah.
Not are they okay? Who has them? How will you get them back? Nothing. And when he says that her children who she has abused and neglected were spending 3 days in the hospital, she couldn't fathom that. It was so unnecessary.
They're just exaggerating this.
Yeah.
I'm sure those kids were just pretending.
And then when he tells her of someone I haven't talked to for a really long time reached out to me and saw an article about this, she said, "Are we in the news?" They must have talked to Sherry, who is her oldest daughter, because that's the only way anyone would know about any of this, and not the fact that she and Jodi Hildbrandt have committed horrific child abuse.
Mm-hmm.
And then we're going to hear how picked on she is.
Yeah. People in here that are screaming. Yeah.
It is so disgusting. It is just stunning. But this is the evolution, okay? This is all the stuff she said before she spoke to a defense attorney. This is before she, was taking this seriously. And I want you to, with that in mind, now listen to the statement that she makes at her sentencing hearing.
Well, you don't have to bend down the...
Okay, thank you. I would like to make a statement without any intent to change my stipulated sentence. For the past 4 years, I've chosen to follow counsel and guidance that has led me into a dark delusion. My distorted version of reality went largely unchecked as I would isolate from anyone who challenged me. I was led to believe that this world was an evil place, filled with cops who control, hospitals that injure, government agencies that brainwash, church leaders who lie and lust, husbands who refuse to protect, and children who need abused. My choice to believe and behave this paranoia culminated into criminal activity for which I stand before you today ready to take accountability. Jodi Hildbrandt was never my business partner, nor was I ever employed by her. I have never received wages from her or connections. Jodi was employed as my son's counselor in 2019, and in 2020 I paid her to be my mentor. It is important to me to demonstrate my remorse and regret without blame. I take full accountability for my choices, and it is my preference that I serve a prison sentence. Thank you to the officers in Santa Clara and the Ivan City Police, Nick Hellman, Brian Palufo, Cy Pikuvit, Mike Pondoyo in Tobler, John Ward, D. Lewis, and Chief Flowers. You were the angels who came and saved my children. I especially want to thank Detective Jay Bate. She plucked me out of a situation I didn't know how to get out of. And the moment she handcuffed me was the moment I gained my freedom. You were not the controlling ones. I was. Thank you to the medical staff at Intermountain Hospital. Your skill, tenderness, and professionalism helped to heal my children. Jodi and I inflicted the injuries, not the hospital. Thank you to DCFS, the Children's Justice Center, Judge Basil, and other key adults. You've gathered my children under your wing and offered them love, compassion, encouragement. You were not the ones who were doing the brainwashing. Thank you to my Bishop Tom Hawks and my state president Jim Nelson for reminding me of the Lord's love for the lost. So much pain and suffering would have been avoided had I followed and heeded your counsel. I was the one who was deceived, not you. Thank you to the Washington County Prosecutor's Office, Ryan Sham, the legal assistants and discovery clerks. Eric Clark, you exemplified to me how justice and mercy are meant to coexist. My charges are just. They offer safety to my family, accountability to the public, and they did show mercy to me. Thank you to my attorney Lamar Winward and his staff. I would not be where I am today without them. Thank you to Randy Kester for your limitless energy in healing my family. My dear friends, Pam and Roy, I'm so sorry for letting you down. Because of your association with me, your innocence was called into question. My mother-in-law, father-in-law, Kevin's family, my cousins, aunts, uncles, nieces, nephews, and neighbors, you all saw the warning signs long before I did, and you did what you could. You wanted to help, but I pushed you away. My mother and father, I have been utterly wretched to you. You have offered me unconditional love, and for that I have offered you unconditional contempt. My siblings and their spouses, because of my decision to roll around in a pigsty, I have dragged your families through the mud in public. Yet, when I desired to return as the prodigal sister, unlike the prodigal's brother in the Bible, you synced step with my parents and ran out to greet me. Your capacity to love is unprecedented. Kevin, my husband of more than 23 years, you are the love of my life. I'm so sorry to leave to you to finish what we both started together. The ending of our marriage is a tragedy. And you are wrapped around my heart in a vow I'll never be able to undo. To my babies, my 6 little chicks, you were part of me. I was the mama duck who was consistently rallying you to safety. I can see now that over the past 4 years I was in a deep undercurrent that led us to danger. I would never led you to darkness knowingly. I was so disoriented that I believed dark was light and light was wrong. I would do anything in this world for you. My willingness to sacrifice all for you was masterfully manipulated into something very ugly. I took from you all that was soft and safe and good. I took from you your mother. How terrifying this must have been for you. souls. You are each so precious to me. I'm sorry. My choice to live in fear of the world has created a great vulnerability and a blind spot for me, where I have broken hearts and I've caused people to suffer and I have betrayed sacred trust. Watching my community respond to my charges with justice and mercy and grace and love is all the more evidence to me of how wrong I've been. This world is full of really good people. And finally, I'm sorry for twisting God's word and distorting his doctrines. My greatest desire is to stand in his court someday spotless and confident. And Judge Walton, I know that standing before you today is a necessary step towards that end. Thank you to you and your staff for facilitating my opportunity to take accountability and to answer for my charges. I am humbled and willing to serve a prison sentence as long as it takes to continue unraveling all of the misinformation I have believed and bought, swallowed, and acted out, and for my family to heal and for the community to heal. And I understand this is going to take time. I'm committed to continuing my learning until all of my toxic layers are shed, and I am ready to re-enter as a contributing member of our beautiful society. Thank you, Judge Walton.
Thank you for your statement. Ms. Franke, anything else?
Bitch, you don't get to come back. Are you kidding me?
Yeah, you don't. And it's like she was holding a press conference.
Oh, it was like she was bearing her testimony.
It was. Yeah, it was a testimony meeting and a press conference because she's still in the limelight, you guys.
She's still the martyr.
Is still the martyr. Exactly. Mm-hmm. She's 100% sees herself as a victim. All of those weird statements about, thank you to Intermountain Hospital. I hurt my children. You didn't. And what the fuck are you talking about, lady? We all know who hurt your children. No one thought the hospital did it or the police did it or any of these other people. It is such...
The thing that really gets me too is that, yeah, you and Jodi were obviously a match made in hell. Yeah, we get it. But this wasn't the beginnings of her abusing those kids.
No.
Her podcast had already been taken down by YouTube a couple of years beforehand because of the abusive way she treated her kids. CPS had many calls from people around the country, including her own sisters, about the way she was treating her kids. She was on her show withholding food from those children as a punishment.
Yes,
so don't give me that for a half a minute that this all started here. No, it didn't.
It's evil Jodi. Oh, you mean G-Jo? Grandma Jodi? Who's just helping you out with your kids? Mm-hmm. Ruby Franke is a psychopath who should never be allowed to be around her children or any other children ever again.
And
but to listen to the progression of her and how she's figured out how to say the right words and how to stipulate to her prison sentence as though she had a motherfucking choice. It's all about that she's doing it because it's the right thing. No, bitch, you're doing it because you abused your children and that's what you go to prison for, dude.
Yeah. She and Jodi both said that they were willing to serve a prison sentence. You don't have a choice.
No.
You're not willing to do anything. Oh,
you don't have any power in this situation at all.
Not at all. The other thing on that topic, I know, I'm so over this all. I'm sure you guys too. I'm sure. The older kids were already quite done with them, from what we understand. But I hope to God that those two children, any of the children, but particularly the youngest two, never, ever, ever, and I promise you that I'll be wrong about this, but never feel any pressure from their grandparents, their aunts, their father to forgive her, to see her, to correspond with her. Oh, it'll happen.
100% it will, because this is the Mormon Church's stance on abuse, that victims should just forgive and forget. You guys,
they will be expected to forgive her.
They will.
And continue to accept her as their mother. You bet they will. I would do anything on this earth for you. Oh, Jodi, straight to the dog wash. Or Ruby, straight to the dog wash with you, for Christ's sake.
It's so disgusting. It is so disgusting.
Well, just all of the dog whistles in her statement, all of the Mormon dog whistles, Joseph Smith, all great, wonderful, righteous men, comparing herself. I mean, compare yourself to that fool. I don't care, but
whatever. But Viktor Frankl, really?
You are not righteous.
Out of the gate.
Yeah. No. Yeah, Viktor Frankl. That is definitely a step too far.
Yeah.
Oh, I know you guys are pissed too, just listening to this. It's very hard to listen to. But I think it's important to understand the level of depravity, and also that this is what's happening in some of these ultra-religious homes. And we've focused a lot on the Mormon homes. It's not just the Mormon homes, but that's our background. So, of course, that's what we talk about. You know, my God, slavery was... Slaves were being beat while the slave masters were quoting the Bible. I mean, people have used their religions to abuse other people on this planet for time immemorial.
Well, and it's happening here too. And this is the thing I wanted to wrap up with, was here are a couple of things from Mormon doctrine you need to understand that have been inflated hugely. The first is that the adversary, or Satan, or the devil, is tempting us all the time. That the devil is in our ear 24/7, trying to get us to do bad things. We were taught that from the time we were tiny little kids, and that even children could be tempted by the devil. That evilness can happen to anyone. Now, where that got expanded way worse is in a book called Visions of Glory. This says it's by someone named John Pontius, but it's actually by Tom Harrison. And it talks in that book about how the spirits of the fallen, so those are the angels that chose Satan in heaven, can come to earth in a body to do evil things and tempt the saints, basically, because that's what the Mormons call themselves. And that is a belief, that belief is there in Mormonism. They've expanded it out to say, look at my kids, they're possessed by demons. Lori Vallow. Ruby Franke. It's terrifying. It just makes me sick. But if you think that Ruby is sorry, if you think she has changed, no, she fucking hasn't. What she's done was a dog and pony show. How to make this about her all the way, the entire time. Nothing that I have read from her or seen from her actually really focuses on her kids and the terrible things that have happened to them and their journeys. She always couches it back about herself. She's a psychopath, you guys. And I hope she never gets out of prison.
Ever. I hope the parole board, and I'm sure they will go through every single bit of this evidence. There was one journal entry that we didn't share today, but that discusses her taking her cactus poker. You know what those big cactuses out on the Utah desert look like? Cactus poker. And poking R in the neck with it repeatedly, trying to force a reaction. Because, see, his demon just doesn't even feel. He doesn't even have a reaction. So then Jodi had to hit him in the face a couple of times to try to get a reaction.
Jesus Christ. It's ridiculous.
That kid was old enough and big enough. She's damn lucky he didn't put that poker right in her eye.
Yeah, she is. Well, that's what we've got, my friends.
Yeah. Sorry about it.
Yeah.
Well, that is it. So we'll be back tomorrow with a brand new episode. We're going to wrap up what happened with the Idaho fugitives. We'll be back Wednesday night for case updates. And we're going to try again with the watch party because unfortunately YouTube failed this last week. So we'll let y'all know tomorrow what that's all about. As for now, you've been listening to another episode of the True Crime Squad. Take care.
Bye, everybody.